Welcome to Three Devs and a Maybe, the podcast series for beginner web developers and general web enthusiasts. Now, introducing your show hosts, Michael Budd, Fraser Hart, Lewis Keynes, and Ed Mann.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Three Devs and a Maybe, our Christmas episode.
Merry Christmas to ya. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Fraser. Merry Christmas. We just started recording. How good is
hello.
That? Yeah.
That was good timing.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing, Mickey?
I'm not going to lie to you, a little bit stressed. But yeah.
So how was your weekend then, man? What have you been up to?
So this weekend was the dreaded move, and it went okay. It went as well as possibly could, but basically now, like, all our belongings are in storage, and
man.
And then we basically have some stuff. Basically me and Abby have moved in with my mum and dad, which is fun. If you've ever lived in your own house and then you move into,
You've gone back to.
You go back. Yeah.
How is it? How are you feeling?
It's just I'm not too bad. I'm adjusted now, and luckily my mum and dad's house is it's a good size and stuff. So
you can pretend they're not there.
Yeah, but it's things like the cat. We have a cat, so that's been interesting.
How is good old Dennis?
He's all right. He's okay.
Is he taking the move okay? Like, it must be a bit of a shock to him. He's like, "Oi, what are you doing to me?"
Yeah, and he's quite an old cat, so it's hard for him to adjust. But it's gone okay, and I think the worst is over now, and onwards and upwards. So
it's not like you're doing like a university course or anything. Oh, you are, aren't you?
Yeah,
and you have a baby,
right.
and you have your job. Wow.
Yeah, and on top of that, a friend of mine the other day asked me to be best man. So
So you have to organise a stag do, and then you have to get drunk.
Exactly that. Yeah. So no, don't get me wrong.
Can you let us know who it is, or?
You met him once actually at my birthday. His name is David Lund.
Lundy.
Yeah, Lundy indeed. Another Java program. Good old Lundy. So
is that Touching Glass?
That's exactly.
Oh, okay.
Touching Glass.
Yeah. So
and his missus was there as well, wasn't she? And she was playing Touching Glass.
Touching Glass.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that game for the life of me, could I? I was definitely not adept at Touching Glass.
Yeah. So they're down this weekend as well. So basically, I triple booked myself for the Ascot weekend.
Wow.
So. But yeah, on that note, how was Ascot?
Terrible.
It was pretty epic.
Oh, yeah, it was epic.
Was it?
It was awesome. Yeah, it was so good.
Oh man, tell me all about
Mr. Gambling Machine himself won. He got 27 quid up, didn't you, Mr.
Yeah, you get the
Fraser?
gambling fever, and then it's kind of like, I started off betting, because we were betting between ourselves, because we kind of went in the intention, okay, we'll bet against ourselves, and then no one's going to lose a lot of money, and then whoever wins will just buy the round.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I could kind of like supplement that with some like real bets on the side. So I went down and like found the first bloke I could find with a flat cap and one of those jackets with the jackets they all wear. I think you actually got one.
There was an official ones inside, but he's going out into the cold just to find it because it does look cooler.
Yeah. So you need to find someone with a flat cap on. So I went down there and then I put a tenner on the first race and then I won that, and then a tenner on the second race and then I won that, and then I put a tenner on the next three races and lost all those, and I was like, oh crap, like, and by this time I was like £3 down, and then I was like, okay, well I'm gonna either like go big or go home, so I put 30 quid down on the final race and managed to pick up on that as well. So it was only like 2-1 odds, so I only made how much was it? Yeah, made 30 quid on that bet, so I took 60 back, so I was 27 up in the end, which was good fun.
That is
very good.
Screwed the man there.
Yes, exactly.
Fought the system, though. We paid extortion amount for the alcohol, so I think they kind of screwed us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was like we were getting rounds, and there was 6 of us, and what was it coming like 30 odd quid for a round of drinks?
30, 40 quid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for American listeners, that's like $50. Is it $50?
Yeah, it was. And the amount of money going around, it was crazy. People were just holding wads of 20s, 50s, and stuff, and it was it was, and like the champagne, like everyone was just drinking like this, like Bollinger, is it Bollinger?
Bollinger, yeah.
Bollinger, and it's just like, 100 and 200 pound a bottle, and they're like, it doesn't matter. It's like,
but I think I found the best deal on the planet in Ascot. So if anybody listening is ever going to go to Ascot, right, you go to the bar and you pay like £5.50 for a drink, or there's a little pie stand, and you can go to the pie stand, and for £6.50, so an extra £1, you get a pie and a pint.
Really?
That is money right there.
That's pretty good value. Yeah.
But then if you want to get mashed potatoes and a pie, it's like £5 for the pie by itself and £9.50 for pie and mash, and like you just get like a crappy little portion of mashed potato. And I don't think that any amount of mashed potato is worth £4.50.
Yeah, I think I'll stand by that too. I think that's a really good. Yeah.
Whereas for an extra £1.50, you can get a beer, which is like £5 elsewhere, where you can just get a crappy bit of mashed potato for a lot more. So avoid the mash.
Avoid the mash.
Oh man. Talking about mash, how mashed were you guys at the end of the day? Were you pretty bad, or?
We could have been worse, because I think we paced ourselves quite well, didn't we? 'Cause we started. I think we had a first drink at about 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And then we were back in the hotel bar at about 11 again. Was that right?
Yeah,
Ed?
I think it was a 12-hour kind of thing.
Yeah, and then we had one more in the bar, and then I think I was in bed before midnight.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a guy really in a bad way. I think there was a group of kind of football lads.
Oh no! In the hotel.
Yeah, we think they'd done similar to us. They turned up in this hotel because they were going to Ascot for the day, and then they turned up back at the hotel about the same time as us. And one of them was passed out on the couch in the hotel bar, and the other one was arguing with the bar staff. And it's like, oh god,
genius.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was good crack. We went on Dodgems as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
That was
nice.
Awesome.
Windsor is a lovely place.
It is actually. I really like Windsor. Yeah.
And the McDonald's there is great too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Finish the night off in a McDonald's. That's how you roll. 20 chicken nuggets, please.
You pounded through those as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh dear! And we had martini. We had martinis as well.
Oh yeah,
martinis, and
horrible.
They were horrible. Yeah,
yeah.
We look good. We got
we looked well stylish.
But wait, neat martini or like martini lemonade? That kind of thing?
Neat martini.
It was it was like in a James Bond kind of glass, and it had a curly up bit of lime in there, and
it was terrible.
It was disgusting.
It was just neat. I think the guy he hadn't done it right, or he'd not included something, because it was pretty strong and pretty terrible.
Yeah, because it was literally it wasn't a gin martini or something. They said.
I think
it was gin and vermouth and nothing else.
Right.
And I don't even know what vermouth is.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like you should be drinking it. Vermouth, vermin.
How's the new job going, Fraser?
It's going really, really well, thank you. I'm having a great time. The commute is really, really hard, because it's taking me. Well, I say really hard. It's not that difficult, but it's just quite a long slog. It's like an hour and 45 minutes door to door. So at the moment, I'm driving from my house to Sevenoaks, where I'm parking up where I used to work, and then getting the train from there to London Bridge. And then, because I can't be bothered to go on the tube from London Bridge up to Shoreditch or up to Old Street where I'm working, I just walk from London Bridge, so that takes about 25 minutes. So it's a long old slog, but the job itself is fantastic. Yeah, really, really good, really enjoying it. I spent the first couple of days, they just said, oh, well, here's some Backbone tutorials. So they've got an account with codeschool.com. I don't know if you guys have ever used that before, but it's something that if anybody's listening that wants to learn new stuff, it's awesome. It's kind of like, how you go on I've not subscribed to Tuts Plus, but I've done a couple of tutorials on Tuts Plus, but the content and the presentation of the tutorials on Code School is, from what I've seen, I've not seen a lot of Tuts Plus, but it's just far and above a lot better. And you kind of sit there, and there's someone talking to you and saying, this is why we're doing this, and this is why we're doing this. And then there's a couple of not exam questions, but it's like practical test questions. So they've got like a code editor in browser, and it says, what's wrong with this? Why is this not working as it should? And then it's like, oh, well, because I have to pass the scope variable through to the other thingy. But yeah, no, really, really enjoying it. So I spent the first couple of days doing that, and then they use. If you guys used Redmine before?
Ooh,
it's like project management software, but it's what they use in the office. So it's really good because it gives you loads of APIs, so you can run queries on, like, for instance, like projects that people are working on, and you can get like data and stats and stuff on pretty much anything that's in the system. Like, so you can see where the hours are going, where the money's going, like the type of projects that people are working on, like if people are spending lots of times in meetings, and who's been putting the most hours in, who's got the most open tickets, and all this kind of stuff. So they've got a big screen TV with basically just an interface where they're reading from the APIs and stuff, and just displaying all these various stats and stuff which are useful to the business. So I spent the back end of the week just putting another couple of screens on that for them, again using Backbone and the APIs that are coming from, did I say Redmine? Yeah, Redmine. And it's awesome, and it's really nice. I'm just really, really happy with the job. Like, it's just nice seeing all the processes that are involved. They've got like a QA team as well for testing, which is something that I've never worked with before, and which is awesome. And then they're encouraging, or they've recently started using like test scripts and stuff on JavaScript development and all the backbone apps and stuff. So I'm learning to do test scripts as well, which is something I've never done before. And the whole deployment process is really good. So when you deploy, it runs these tests, and if it doesn't pass all the tests, then it physically won't deploy it.
That's so good.
So it's none of this. Yeah, so it's none of this. Yeah, it is with Jenkins. Yeah, so it's none of this. Okay, we'll just make a change to the checkout and FTP it, and
exactly. It's with Dev on Live, because I've always found that deving on live is the best way to get around.
Straight through Qt FTP, right click and edit file in place.
Yeah, because that's safe.
Yeah. It's very safe.
So safe, instant.
What about?
So it's really. Sorry.
I was going to say the safe way of doing it, right, is deving on live and just doing like if server. Remote ADVR equals that's the pro way of doing it, right?
If server IP address is this,
then echo this out else. Man,
yeah.
But no, it's really good. So I've got 3 days in the office next week. I think most of the office is off next week. There's like 26 people working there, and I think like 20 of them are off next week.
Oh wow! So you
with the run up to Christmas. So yeah, so I'm in the office with maybe 3 or 4 other people. My direct manager is going to be in the office, which is good. So it'll be good to spend a bit of time kind of catching up with him. And then I've got 3 days, then Christmas, and then I'm not back in the office until the 5th of January, which is good.
Person.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Hell.
How's everything with your job, Mickey?
Jobs, been pretty good. I have to say, my work has been really, really good in terms of giving me flexibility. And because obviously last week I had that day from hell where I had an exam and I had a presentation, and then I had to sit through everyone else's presentations.
So you had 6 hours of sitting there having to, because surely that's ridiculous. I mean, they couldn't have split you up into different groups or.
Yeah, well, I guess there was only about 30 master's students on that doing that module. So, and you're expected to ask questions after the presentation. So in order to get a good amount of questions, I guess they keep everyone in there. And I mean, they say, as well, it's for your own development that, you listen to everyone else's presentation. You're learning, it's supposed to be valuable stuff.
Was it valuable? Did you learn stuff from other people, or were they all scared?
It is, but like you're doing this presentation on a research paper, so without reading the research paper, it's hard to fully understand. And also, I don't know anyone on this planet who can concentrate for that amount of time.
6 hours is even the lecturer must be kind of turning off and on, like when he has to kind of.
He was insane. I mean, he was pretty focused all the way through. But I mean, we had 1 hour lunch break, and that was it, really.
That's insane. So how did yours go, though? More importantly,
the presentation itself, I think, went okay. And
did you go? How long did you have? Like, what was the time limit for?
So it's 15 minutes. You're expected to do 15 minutes, pretty much on the to the dot. So
did you do 15 minutes to the dot?
I did.
Yeah.
I kept looking at the clock, and I made sure. But during the questioning, I got torn to pieces a little bit.
I remember you said, but then you did then say it was the actual teacher who was tearing you to bits. So
yeah, and he did it with everyone else, to be fair. But I did struggle, so we'll see how I've got on with that. But
struggle with the questions? Yeah,
definitely. Well, one of them, because I read the research paper again the night before, just to make sure I was fully understood everything, and then I kind of realised there was like just an area that had just been completely left out, and I was like, well, it wasn't made very clear what was going on, and I was like, well, hopefully he just won't ask me.
He won't mention that bit, and it's the only bit he mentions.
Of course,
it's like,
he did.
No.
Yeah. And it just showed you how switched on he was, actually. And
did other people ask questions, or was it just him for yours?
Unfortunately, no. All the students didn't ask any questions for me, and then I just had him.
Well, I mean, what's the point in having you all there if you're not going to ask questions? Boom.
Well, yeah, I don't. The other guys are cool, and I don't think they meant anything by it. They just. I don't know. You either got a question or you haven't.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose you. And I mean, were you quite early on in the 6 hour window, or
thankfully I was third in, and that's what I wanted to get it out of the way. Get
it out of the way. Yeah, and then you can you literally just put your feet up a bit, kind of feeling.
Yeah, and you know what? To be fair, that for me, that's the great thing about uni is you are learning from other people, and the presentations were really good, and some of them were fantastic. Like one was on. Because this is like a cross-discipline module, so it's got psychology students, computer science students, mathematics students, and like one of the guy did a presentation on like babies and stuff and how they learn to make noises and stuff.
Okay.
And basically, he was talking about like how a baby's their first noises, other than crying, it's just like an involuntary spasm of these muscles.
Right.
And then they learn from that, like, oh, I can make this noise, and then they train themselves to make sounds that actually make sense over time. So that was really, really cool. And then another guy was talking about obviously looking for like breast tumors and that kind of stuff, and using like neural network algorithms to detect
that's
something
cool.
that might show up as a tumor, that kind of thing.
Wow.
And like all that, false positive readings and all this kind of stuff. Really interesting stuff.
What did you do yours on?
I did mine on fuzzy logic.
Fuzzy logic. Would you care to tell the audience what fuzzy logic is?
Certainly, yeah. Okay, so fuzzy logic is trying to get away from the traditional computer science logic of what you might call, I guess, a Boolean logic of zeros and ones, true or false, yes, no, that kind of thing, where something is very black and white, and obviously it's trying to mimic nature, because nature always has the best solutions, right? It's had millions of years to evolve.
Seems to have done well so far.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, we're trying to now mimic that kind of thing in technology. So, for example, one of the best examples I think is like if you think of like a traffic light system, where you might have a load of traffic one side and nothing the other side. Obviously, you don't want both sides to have a red light for the same amount of time. It's ridiculous. So, using fuzzy logic, you could say, well, okay, how many cars are on the other side?
And weight it by that or something.
Yeah, and that's very simplistic. You might have 1,000 factors in some problems, but you would take in all those bits of data and you would try and work out what the best solution is. And obviously, as the day goes on, those times would change. You wouldn't have a fixed time throughout the day. So the research paper I did was on like classifying students, and basically it took two like data inputs. One was like a test score, one was like a test time. It would take those inputs and it would then try and calculate or classify the student. Like, is he an excellent student, good student, bad student? It was a really simplistic model. Obviously, you couldn't use this particular model in real life, but it just shows you how you could start doing this. And it's not rocket science, but it's really interesting. And I could talk for hours about fuzzy logic. I won't, but there's some really interesting projects out there. Like I think I saw there was like a helicopter made by the Japanese that has like one blade, rotary blade.
How?
But it can only be operated by a computer. But it's
because of it being so many factors have to be taken into consideration. Like
it's
just like wobble well loads as well.
Yeah, it crashed. I don't know. I have no idea. But
that's really interesting. Because actually, this week I was speaking to a friend of mine and about what's that game? It's the game that everyone keeps playing, not the little Candy Crush. That's it. And like how Candy Crush has kind of just like dominated the game market. I was talking to Fraser this weekend about like the Candy Crush, the new version around Old Street. Like they've literally invaded the whole like advertising everywhere, and also like on all the telephone like boxes. They actually have like little Candy Crush, like little toys and stuff. Like, it's crazy,
insane, isn't it?
But the way they work is that the game changes the hardness based on how much you play it.
Right.
And like, it doesn't. Well, this is what I think. That's what they were saying. Like that, like if it'll get easier and harder. So if you're playing it more, if they feel like you want to win that level more, then they'll maybe push you saying, "Oh, by the way, you can pay to skip this level or stuff." So they do it. They don't do it in as you say, like a Boolean way of like dish this level. The level changes. Based on how much you care, almost how much they can read that you care about getting through this game. So it's quite interesting that it adapts the game to the user.
Well, I remember reading Pro Evolution Soccer. I think that's a similar thing where the computer is supposed to learn like the moves that you do.
So how good so it actually knows how to defend against you and stuff. That's cool.
So it's everywhere now. Like,
you can't just lob the ball up there and
I remember, like in the mid '90s as well, there was a big kind of palaver about not palaver, but there was a big fanfare about this new game that was coming out. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a robot fighting game. And up until that point, it was like in the fighting games and stuff, all the computer characters do. They have like a random number generator or something that say, okay, throw a punch, throw a kick, throw a punch, throw a kick. But then this was like the first game that ever kind of used any kind of artificial intelligence. So it's like saying, well, okay, well, this thing keeps punching me in the face, so I need to block and then kick him in the balls or something like that. Yeah. And it was a crap game, but I remember there was a big amount of fanfare saying, oh, it's using artificial intelligence and this is the future of gaming and stuff. So it's kind of surprising to hear that, like you say, Pro Evo is only just kind of picking that up now.
Yeah, well, I think, in the next 10 years, I think we'll see a lot more of it. But you just kind of reminded me of something, but I can't remember where I read this, but I read it the other day, and it was talking about random. And obviously, I think we talked about it before, but obviously computers aren't very good.
They can't do random, can they?
They can't do random. Anything you really talk about, even the best things now, aren't really random. But it turns out humans aren't very good either.
Really? Actually, how do you actually define random, though? Because
So basically, I think there was an experiment where a person had to say 0 or 1.
Yeah.
And they asked this human about 30 times to give them a 0 or 1. And after about the 30th attempt, the computer could predict the next however many times. Pretty much 100%.
We go in a pattern.
We do. You don't know crazy. It, but you are in some sort of pattern all the time.
Because it's pseudo-random, isn't it, the computer? Like each random generation is actually pseudo-random, and then they use real-life like events, like like noise, like they can use like the noise, the electrical noise, and they use they can use anything can be used for random, like like car lights and stuff, and how bright they are, what's the wind like. But even that kind of stuff can be predicted a bit, I suppose, but really noise and stuff like that but it's really cool. That is crazy.
And with the whole like English people, there's people in general. They don't have to be English, but how poor like people are at being random as well. Like, obviously, there's not like rock paper scissors, that game that everyone plays. There's like a world championships with it, and there are people that are good at it because they're good at predicting what people are gonna put out. And it's because humans aren't random. And if you had a perfectly random human player, then he'd be completely unexploitable and would be the best rock paper scissors player in the world. But the fact that people can't be completely random in their decisions, that is amazing. That is a huge flaw, and that's why there are people who are good at rock paper scissors, because people cannot be completely random.
Oh man, I want to do that for my project next year now. Rock paper scissors prediction.
Really, but there's like a world championships, and there's consistently winners. It's not like how like you kind of throw a ball in the air and it lands somewhere random. It's nothing like that. It's kind of like there's
people
consistently
actually
winners.
Do this based on external factors than just luck.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of luck, because I just thought the 90s.
Yeah.
So this is a Twitter user. It's a bot. It's Spaceman Check. So you remember Space Jam from the 90s, one of the best movies ever.
Wasn't Shaquille? Was it Shaq or was it Michael Jordan?
Mr. Michael Jordan. Yeah. And the website for it is still up, and it is the best 90s. Like, it's just the best website ever. It's still up on WarnerBrothers.com, and I think they're just keeping it up now because it's amazing. Yeah. And it's just, it's amazing. Just how bad. It's crazy that this was the web. This was like the best thing you could do in 1996.
Wow, I'd be classed as a great developer if I was back.
This is what annoys me, isn't it? It's like, this is, and if you look at the source, the source is all there for you to look at, and it's just amazing. It's all iframes.
I was going to say, loads of iframes, you can see it straight off, can't you?
Oh, it's amazing. I just love it,
That is a great find.
Like GIFs and stuff and everything. And I did actually follow this guy for this bot, and it is a bit annoying though, because it does it every day. It just says, it looks like Space Jam website is still there, and you're just like still online, and it's like, okay, I don't need to know this anymore. So I may unfollow them, but I do think you should give them enough chance. Give the website a little bit of credit. This is an amazing feat of engineering. Which it is actually, I suppose, for 1996. But yeah, how much has the internet changed now, though?
Well, you know what? The funny thing is, though, you're right. Technology's changed, and what we can do has changed. But taste, surely. Well, actually, I say this, I don't know, but even back then, you would have think.
I know the color scheme. The red. There's red like Roman Times New Roman text on the black star background.
That's
with
exactly
then like a yellow or green copyright at the bottom, and you're just like, this is insane. Absolutely agree. It's the worst color scheme ever, especially for someone who's colorblind as well. It doesn't really help. Yeah, but hey, they obviously had a direction. They had an art direction to go in, and this was there. White on white wasn't around there, Mickey. Okay, your design skills were needed, sorely lacking there. Your design skills there, they were. Oh dear, but I thought I'd just throw that one out there as a nice little joke one for the week. Actually, I've got one more thing. Actually, so this guy called Greg Young, he's really, really cool. He invented something called CQRS. Right. Command query responsibility separation, and it goes from I'm hoping in a couple of podcasts time to do something on CQRS and CQS along with a couple of other principles, stuff that I wouldn't mind, like at the end of the year kind of do a little recap of the stuff that I've learned through working at my builder and stuff. Right, I don't know if you guys, like we could all kind of like chime in and what we've learned this year and stuff, kind of as a nice recap thing. So, but CQRS is just commands query responsibility separation, and also something called EventStore. And I've got a couple of videos that he's been doing and stuff on it, and he's making an event-based database store, and it's quite interesting because instead of storing things such as like like you'd have like a relational database and you'd have like an orders table and items that have been purchased and stuff. This actually just stores events. Like says two items were added, purchased, one was deleted, etc., through time. So it's append only. You can't update it. You can't delete it. You can't edit, so it only adds to things. And what you then do is you make projections from that, because how do you know what the person you're making it for wants, in a month's or year's time? Maybe they want to know how many people deleted that item from their cart. Well, I can't work that out because I just have, the items that were then purchased. That was what I then stored at that time. All that information about them deleting stuff is gone. But with event stores, you can actually say, okay, well, let's just go through, and you literally go back and you just make a projection based on the events that have occurred. It's a really simple idea, just the fact that what you're doing is storing events that have happened and keeping them, than just storing kind of this view that you want to see now. And I really, really do recommend watching his video. He's one of the best talkers. And he's very much into domain-driven design and stuff like that. And actually, he's going to be doing a Skills Matter course in February on DDD. But he's also going to, when he's in February, he's also going to be coming over and doing something in F# for free at Skills Matter up in London. Wow! And I'm hoping. Well, I've signed myself up for it. Me and Kaven have, so we're hoping to go. I mean, you guys more than welcome. I mean, he's a really good talker, and anything really you just want to talk to him about stuff, because he's a really interesting guy to listen to.
Yeah, can you send me the details of that, and I'll
absolutely, mate, absolutely. But yeah, so I mean, that is just a free event, and then the actual course on DDD is quite expensive, but he is worth it. Another thing actually is Rich Hickey. Now he's another person. I'm going to put some videos in the show notes that we've been talking about. He invented Closure, the Lisp dialect on the JVM. But he's very much got a very interesting way of solving problems, handling problems and stuff. And I wouldn't do any justice. I think the best thing for me to do is just say, here's a couple of videos. Maybe if you've got time, check them out, because they will open you up about different ideas, software development, how to think of things and stuff like that. Very interesting guy, very, very clever guy, and I'll just put them in the show notes and stuff. So those are two guys I would definitely check out, Rich Hickey and Greg Young, as people to I find that I kind of go through phases of like, oh, this guy's cool, and then I'm like, reading their stuff and watching their videos and stuff and wishing I was them, obviously that's sad. And it's like, you're well good, you're amazing, can I have your autograph? But yeah, so these two guys definitely well worth checking out.
Well, I was going to say, we had a few emails recently, didn't we?
Let's have a look.
While he's looking for that, Mickey, I've just seen you favourited a tweet that I've just replied to you on.
Yeah.
So is that on then?
I'm intrigued. What is this?
Mickey wanted to run 10 miles, so him and me are going to... Sorry, him and me or him and I? Yeah, him and I have picked the 3rd of January to do a 10-mile run.
Yes, do it!
Obviously, the other free devs guys are welcome as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I think I may die doing it, though.
I think I also will die, so if we die together...
Yeah.
Talking
about dying, I was thinking maybe upping the ante a little bit. I was thinking maybe doing 13 miles, because then it's half a marathon, right?
I think, is it 13.6?
Yeah, 13.6, is it?
No, it's not 13.6. Hang on, half. Okay, I'm up for it though. Or we could even try take a whole day and then try and smash a marathon.
Oh wow!
I think there actually would be.
It would be horrific, but it's 13.1 miles for a half.
Right.
But it would be horrible. But even if it takes us 5-6 hours, then
that's true.
Like there's nothing saying that we have to run it. We could walk some of it.
Well, yeah, that's a good point actually.
And we could take it well easy.
Yeah.
And then we could be like, let's run a marathon.
Just did a marathon. I actually have found some emails that we can talk about, which is great.
Yeah.
So this is from Joe Kasavage. I've completely destroyed you. I'm really sorry, man. So he says, "Hey all, just wanted to let you know that I'm a big fan of the show. You guys put together a damn good show. Nice, thank you,
Joe.
And one of the only PHP podcasts I listen to and I enjoy listening to. Wow, that's really nice. I'm a long-time dev in the web world, currently working out of Houston, Texas, making a branch over to a more desktop-orientated career while finishing with my master's in software engineering. That's very cool. I just wanted to reach out and see if anyone of your crew had any experience in the desktop market and could go over some of the pitfalls one would run into when switching from web to desktop apps. I guess you can get around a lot now since almost everything has a web backend, but I figured it would be give you guys a good chat topic. And again, love the show. Thanks for doing what you guys do. And P.S. loving Code Wars since I heard about it on the show. So there you go, Fraser.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a great question, actually.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I've had a bit of experience, but it's funny actually because most of the things nowadays are web-based. I mean, people would just prefer a web end, but I mean, a couple of things that come off to my mind that obviously stuff like when you're on a desktop, then you kind of have to think of different things such as now things aren't going to be in the browser. Now you've got an extra level of like where you can actually handle things like in Spring and Java worlds and C# WinForms, WFC, I think Windows Presentation Foundation, and stuff like that. So for me, the big things would be what platform are you doing it for? Platform then becomes very important unless you're going to be using something like Java or C#, which now C# can, we're using Mono at the moment, be run on different platforms. You can do things like Qt and stuff like that for Python, and even PHP, funnily enough, actually has a GUI kind of bindings for Qt, so you can actually make GUI apps that run with PHP, which is quite crazy. But yeah, so for me, it would be what operating system you're doing it on, and going based on the fact of each websites you seem to have. I know we all have like a feel for things like Bootstrap, that kind of feel, that's a web application. But with desktop applications, it's very much kind of that, a Mac application should act like this. There's kind of human interface kind of things that you kind of bear with. A Windows app should look like this and stuff like that. That I definitely would say take into consideration a lot when you're making desktop applications. And also, actually, I mean, take advantage of the fact that you can, really do a lot more with a desktop application. I know that obviously we have all these kind of bindings now to stuff like OpenGL and stuff like that, but you can actually play with OpenGL easily without using the browser, without Chrome, without Internet Explorer, without checking all these different browsers, different tweaks and stuff. You can just use and develop an application. It depends really what the application you're doing is, but I mean, a lot of people now have gone from, if it's a simple CRUD application, they would actually prefer to just have it on the web because of the fact it scales better in quotes. Yeah. But I really enjoy it. It's really fun making desktop applications. Completely different world.
That is like you say, it's such an interesting question, and he sounds very similar to me in the fact that he's a web developer who's doing like his software engineering course. Well, I'm not doing software engineering, but similar kind of thing. And actually, the really weird thing is, I got into web development because of the lower barrier to entry, and I kind of saw it as a stepping stone to then getting into maybe like desktop software. But actually, since I've done that, things have changed so much. And like you say, now everything is web-based. So it's kind of like, actually, maybe we are in the right place already. And just last week, like when I was doing my presentation, I was just doing everything on Google. I can't remember what they call it for their spreadsheets now, for their presentations and stuff. But actually, it's so much easier now just to open up Chrome, create a file. I don't even need to save a file and then back it up to the cloud. I can just save straight to the cloud. Insane. And then it's there. Actually, you're right. Everything is going to be web-based. I mean, there's always going to be exceptions to that rule. Obviously, things like games, and also things like like design software like Photoshop, all that kind of stuff is probably always going to be desktop based, because I think it'd just be always way too heavy to do in the browser. I don't know, maybe that's quite a naive statement, actually.
No, well, I mean, the thing is, it's like the whole iOS thing, where iOS and Android apps, you still have native apps, because actually the experience, you just can't quite get it yet. You know, I mean, there have been apps such as like, what's like the GitHub's own browser, GitHub's own code editor. I can't remember what it's called, and also like brackets and stuff like that, which are, are actual pretty much web applications.
Yeah, but they're not quite as good.
That's it. They're not quite the same, and it's that you have a feeling like it can look exactly the same, but it won't react as quick, or it won't act in the way you feel when you're in a web browser still almost. I always find like sometimes when you're hovering over things and you get the little clicker thing, you're interacting with a web application instead of an actual real desktop application. So I think if that ever gets solved, that'll be great. But I do still feel desktop applications have a place, because, at this moment in time, we're using Skype as a desktop application. We're using Audio Hijack Pro as a desktop application. These things that hook into a lot of areas of their hardware, that, specifically. But it's a really cool experience. But as you say, like, it's funny how the web has become the be or end all kind of thing, where you would, you kind of thought of it as just a stepping stone into desktop world. But I mean, big banks still use it, but everyone needs a lot of companies need desktop applications to be able to run properly. And thank you for the message, man.
No, absolutely.
Really
It's
nice.
always good to hear from people. Just on the point of web applications as well. Like, I think we should start a movement where we start calling them WAPs or WAP applications.
Yeah, WAP.
Because I think they sound cool.
Do you remember WAP?
I do remember WAP.
Wireless Application Protocol. Yeah,
exactly.
That was awesome. Going around on the internet trying to use WAP was
that was a flash in the pan, wasn't it? Because that was only really used for about a year and a half or so.
It was like a mini disc. It was the mini disc of I know you loved your mini disc, Mickey. I know you loved it.
I've still got it.
It's coming back round. It's like Betamax, HD DVDs.
I was playing with it just the other day, actually.
Really? How long for? And then you went back to your iPhone and thought, okay, this is
about 2 minutes.
I never understood. So how did they work? So you recorded it onto a disc, pretty much a small disc, the tracks you wanted.
Yeah, so
it was like a tape kind of thing.
If you had the right gear, you had like I can't remember what they call it, like an optical input, and then you had an optical output on your CD player, and then basically when you recorded a CD, it could pass data, so it would know like when a track became the next track.
So you'd have to play.
And you had to do it in real time as well.
In real time, you did.
That's insane.
Yeah. But I think there was like a data drive, mini disc drive that Sony brought out.
Oh, right. Ooh.
And I was going to get one, but it was like just about the time when I realised that mini discs had already died. So
Sony's lovely invention.
Yeah, and actually, really randomly, I am actually looking at about a stack of 60 mini discs in front of me right now.
Really? Wow. Yeah. And they've got like the One Direction now, because you've obviously used it.
One Direction on mini disc. Yeah, absolutely.
It's classic.
Yeah.
I do actually have another email, actually. It was a reply back from Eric Bishard, the httpjunkie.com.
Because he's modified his post, hasn't he?
He did. He says, thanks for mention. I've since updated the article to make sure the spelling grammatical. This is me saying it so wrong. Errors were gone and updated. And I updated a little bit of the article, even adding a bit about software craftsmanship. I really found that little nugget to be very true and something that I had not come out and just said. So thanks for that nugget. I just wanted to say how much I really appreciated the plug, but more just talking about diversifying the developer's palette. I think this is very important for new guys coming into the field. We can learn a lot from each other, regardless of the language and stack. Completely agree, man. That is so true. I find, going into just like these talks with other people, like the Closure Lisp dialect and stuff, like learning Lisps and listening to people in just high people in other languages, other paradigms. You learn something and you'll be able to take it away and put it into your current stack that you're using. Even if it's just a mindset, even if it's just like a thought saying, okay, we've got to think maybe more about this, mutability or something, and little things that you will change the way you work in your own language at the time. For the better, based on the knowledge you found from other languages and other things.
Yeah, it's a great email. Completely agree with everything.
That's awesome. No, that's great that we're getting these emails. It's
I
really
do
nice
like it.
that people
Really
actually listen to us.
Yeah.
Has anyone else got anything they want to talk about this week? Have we got any other?
Not, to be honest. I'm on a bit of a tight schedule, so I might duck out now if that's okay.
That's
Yeah,
fine, sir.
I think me too. But I think some good content there. So
Got some nice content. Yeah, it's only been we just thought we'd get one in quickly before Christmas because
Christmas.
we know we've been kind of a bit relaxed, but hoping now. I should actually say that I am finally in the new. I'm in my new place, and I actually have internet. So I'm actually recording this from the internet connection that took me 2 months to get, and only half an hour to actually install. So that was an interesting experience. So don't ever live without the internet. Anyway, that's the caveat. Yeah, internet is good. Internet's great.
Yeah, we have been a little bit slack with putting episodes out, but we are looking to rectify this because we've all had stuff going on. Obviously, Michael's had the kid and moving and stuff, and Ed's not had internet, and I've been getting the new job, and everyone's been
soon to be moving up to London as well. So
absolutely, So everyone's been really busy, but early in the new year we're going to be all settled. I think
we're going to smash this.
Mickey's still going to have more stuff than like anyone on the planet on his plate. so we'll work around accommodating Mickey, and then and then we'll be chucking him out on the road.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Actually, it has been hard, and bear with us. We will keep getting them out, but I'm really fired up again to keep going.
So I am as well. Yeah, we've got no intentions of stopping. So
I want another. I want to get up to 100. I want to see those triple digits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right then, guys. Well, thank you very much. And
have a beautiful Christmas.
Have a great Christmas. Yeah,
and we will speak to you after Christmas. Well, potentially before the new year. We've run aside yet. We'll keep you posted.
See how it goes. Yeah. Okie dokie, people.
Right.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
You've been listening to 3 Devs and a Maybe. You can contact us at contact@3devsandamaybe.com or follow us on Twitter at 3 Devs and a Maybe.